man, should not have ate the bean burrito. Oh, hey, hey, yeah, alright, it's that time again. It's epic moment in comic time. Yeah, I didn't just defecate in there, that's for sure. That's for sure. It's not my bathroom. But anyway, epic moment in comic book time. And this is a football jersey, as you can tell. This is my Brian Sipe throwback from the Cleveland Browns, Cardiac Kids. And of course I have my upgraded power glove with 3 power coins. Hopefully I can get more of them, but today we show, epic moment show come in the story arc known as the Eve of Destruction. Which, I should turn on the lights. Bam! Lights are on. And anyway, this is the Eve of Destruction story arc right here. It's 4 parts, by the way, and here we go. Well, let me give you some backstory to this story arc before. Backstory is, there was a thing called the Legacy Virus. The Legacy Virus completely decimated the mutant population. Completely decimated the mutant population. It killed countless mutants, including Magik, aka Illyana Colossus' sister. And during this time, Magneto managed to take control of Genosha, which was loaded with mutants, in a story arc called the Magneto War. So he managed to take control of it, and he had like a nation full of mutants. But because of the Legacy Virus, it absolutely decimated his nation. Case in point, Colossus sacrificed himself for the Legacy Virus, for the cure, sacrificed himself, because you know he's come back to life. Astonishing X-Men, Joss Whedon wrote that. Comes back to life, but anyway, like I said, the Legacy Virus gets cured, and suddenly Magneto has an entire nation filled of healthy mutants that are not dying. And anyway, so that's the backstory to this. Now that he has an entire nation of mutants that are healthy, he finally plans to unleash his conquest of the world. And that's where you have the Eve of Destruction. And why is it epic? Well, one, you get a classic showdown between the X-Men and Magneto. And not just X-Men. The only 3 X-Men that were the only 3 good X-Men that actually show up to fight him were Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Cyclops. And Cyclops I'm stretching because he's not that good. And everybody else, everyone else was doing their own thing. Rogue had trouble controlling her powers, Gambit was nowhere to be found, and so everybody else that were in the X-Men was nowhere to be seen. So they pretty much do last minute recruiting. They recruit some, I don't even know the guy's name, some Italian mobster guy that's a mutant that's supposedly invulnerable right off the street. Like literally right off the street. I don't know this other guy's name. They recruit this other guy who pretty much has like the ability to see right through his skin right off the street. They recruit Sunfire, not the Sunfire we know, his sister Sunfire that no one knows about, that was only in like 17 issues. They recruit her, an absolute stranger. They recruit Frenzy, and I do this way, and they recruit the Dazzler. Yeah, so it's not the original team, it's a whole totally new team of X-Men right off the street that they never trained together, confronting Magneto in his nation before he's about to unleash the world. That's 1. 2, what Magneto does to Professor Xavier. See this cover right here? Well, this is Xavier. Right there. He essentially ties him to a cross with chains, and he does something to his brain. He stems the flow of iron to his brain to pretty much reduce his powers. So he's essentially almost crucified, only not nailed. I mean, look at that. 2, and here's another thing. And 3, we get to see Magneto's new outfit. Where is it? We get to see Magneto's new outfit right here. Nope, that's not it. The black and purple, folks. Magneto is rocking the black and purple. I mean, that's pretty damn badass. So that's 2 reasons. 3, Wolverine finally gets his revenge on Magneto. When he finally gets his revenge on Magneto, because Magneto ripped the adamantium out, and he finally gets his revenge. And you'll see later on, that's 3. 4, this ended with essentially the death of Magneto. That was a big thing. This was essentially the death of Magneto. That ended it. And he would stay dead until New X-Men with the whole Zorn saga, which we'll get on later on. But so that's the 4th reason. It ended with the death of Magneto. And pretty much that was it. Pretty much this is the reason it's epic. It's such a great story, folks. So let's begin the story. For one, so here's what happens. Magneto was planning to unleash his plan, because after his plan, he's telling what he's going to do to an Xavier that's pretty much catatonic. You know, what he does to Magneto is absolutely terrible. Oh, and the other epic moment, Dazzler. Believe it or not, Dazzler actually does something useful. Oh my God, there is a God. She actually did something useful for a change, instead of whining about being a star. Ugh. So anyway, he's pretty much telling his plan, and let's look at the recruits, shall we? We got this guy right here. We got this orange guy right here that can see through his skin. Right there. You see, that's his only power. Oh, I forgot, we got North Star right here. We got that they recruited off the street. We got this Italian guy that's invulnerable. And, you know, he's an Italian mobster. Right there by Jean Grey. He's an Italian mobster, so North Star is notoriously gay, and, you know, him being the macho Italian mobster, he doesn't get along with North Star, so an entirely new team, and they really don't get along facing Magneto. They have no chance in hell, right? Additionally, let's look at the other characters. Who do we have? Dazzler right here. Right there in the background. Who is it? Who else? Well, there's Sunfire. Sister right there. And I'm trying to look for Frenzy. Sunfire right there. You know, that's the sister. That's a complete stranger, and she even tells you must be really, really desperate to recruit a complete stranger. And where else is there? Nope, no, my glasses, no. And I'm looking for Frenzy. Frenzy. And that's Frenzy right here, back in the 90s. And when I say they recruited Frenzy, I essentially mean Jean Grey brainwashed her. So, and this is what happens, what awaits them when they land. When they land in an army, a nation full of mutants that Magneto's controlling. This is what happens. Look at that. A group of new mutants that you never heard of, you know, that are coming together for the first time. Some of them don't get along. They have no experience together, no flow, no training, fighting an army of Magneto. Nation of mutants. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. And of course, they get thrown into the arena where they get thrown into the arena where Magneto waits to confront them. And look at that panel, folks. And in addition to that, it's not just that, but then from here on in, you get a nice battle. Because there's Wolverine and Cyclops didn't join the fray, they actually infiltrated Genosha. They actually infiltrated Genosha with the help of Polaris kind of aiding them. And look at what happens. Look at this. Look, they're so disgusted by what he did to Charles Xavier. I mean, just, look at that. He's essentially catatonic, because he's adjusting the flow of iron to his brain, controlling his powers, he's tied to it. I mean, look at that. And Dazzler gets so PO'd that she actually tries to unleash the biggest light blast ever on Magneto. A classic battle. And of course, Magneto blocks it, and he essentially obliterates her. And it's like, you read this issue, it's like, okay, they don't have no chance in hell. And then you think, oh, maybe they have a chance. And bam, this is what happens at the end of this one. Pretty awesome, folks. So when I first read this issue, I was like so happy, because I was like, oh my God, look, Dazzler's dead. Yeah, woo! Gave me false hope. You bastard comic, but yeah, give me false hope. But anyway, and then it continues in this one. This is X-Men 113 from the volume 1, apparently. And look, they're all raged out and stuff, and so they're gonna attack. They're pretty much gonna unleash an offensive. And it's just from here, this issue is just details the battle with them and Magneto, and it's a classic. I mean, it's just classic. I mean, just so set up, and it does not let you down. I mean, look at that. Look at that. And he's so arrogant, too. I mean, he has an entire army of mutants that he could unleash on the X-Men, and he doesn't use them. And then here's what he tries to do. The Italian guy that's invulnerable, he tries to rip him apart from inside, but because he's invulnerable, he can't do it. And he didn't even know that. They didn't know that. It was stupid luck that he survived. And Jean Grey is like, oh, thank God. She's like, the one thing about the X-Men, the Virgin X-Men that we just picked off the street is that we don't know the full extent of their powers. And so anyway, he sends him into, it's cool because he sends the guy into Adam's atmosphere, and then North Star has to go in after him. And needless to say, this Italian macho guy and a homosexual North Star, they don't get along because, different beliefs, and needless to say, it does not go well because North Star has to give him mouth to mouth, so it was pretty hilarious seeing that. But look at that, just a classic battle. And then, so he's starting to whittle them down, he whittles them down. Frenzy comes in and starts laying a few inches on him, but of course, we all know that doesn't last. That doesn't last, not last at all. And then finally, Wolverine and Cyclops make their appearance. And it's so cool, because it's like just a classic battle. I mean, you got Sunfire, his sister trying to actually do something, but she gets incinerated. She pretty much essentially gets incinerated. This guy who has essentially no power, no power whatsoever, except that he has like a grotesque feature. Well, Magneto calls him and he's like, what's your, he kind of does a Clint Eastwood thing. So, what's your power besides looking grotesque? And he's about to kill him, but then the guy transfers that grotesque appearance to Magneto, just disorienting him. So he kind of gets Magneto in the end. It was pretty cool. And it's just so good because Magneto snaps, shows him, and then you got the classic, pretty much it narrows down to the classic X-Men. Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Cyclops. And Cyclops actually ends up knocking his helmet off. And he ends up hitting him, and he just pretty much embarrasses Magneto. It's so cool. And well, let's just put it this way. Magneto is pretty much ponying him, and look at that. They have no chance, right? But here's what happens. Here's the Beetle. Here's like a splash page right here, a really cool one. And here's the end-all Beetle right here. And here's the end-all Beetle. The end-all Beetle. That splash page right here. He's gonna rip Wolverine's adamantium. Wolverine got his adamantium. He's gonna rip it out again. And here's the end-all Beetle. The one to end everything. This panel, right here. Well, here's what happened, folks. He can't rip Wolverine's adamantium. You want to know why? Because Xavier's off the cross, off that essential metal cross, folks. He's off that, and he can't rip him out. He can't rip the adamantium out because Xavier is in full capacity of his thing, full mental capacity. Dazzler, which unfortunately we thought she died, actually does something useful. When I say that, I mean she uses her light powers to disguise herself as Charles Xavier to make that holographic image that it's still Charles Xavier out there, on there. Meanwhile, other people came and took him off, and so he's blocking Magneto's powers. And this is the page where Wolverine finally gets his revenge. Right here. Right there, look at that. He finally gets his revenge for Magneto ripping his adamantium out. You see that, folks? He stabs him. Right there, right through the gut. And then you can see at the end that they kind of pretty much essentially have a funeral. They essentially leave him there, right there to die. And, he's pretty much presumed dead. And you got the epilogue. And that was Eva Destruction. Folks, it's an X-Men. It runs through, it's a 4-part series. 4 parts. It's Uncanny X-Men. It runs through 392, 393. I got 393 and 113 right here. Pick this up. It is so worth it. Trust me, folks. Pick these 2 issues up. I mean, oh my god. And let's go back why it's epic, and let's go into long-term too. One, we get that teaser that Dazzler dies. When Dazzler essentially died in this issue, and I can show the panel again, folks, where she essentially, died, and everybody's like, Dazzler! That itself is like, oh my god, yeah, she's dead. Only you ruined it in this one. That's one reason it's epic. Two, this issue, Dazzler does something useful. She uses her light powers to make a holographic. She actually manages to rescue Charles Xavier using her powers to make that holographic image, and in turn turns the battle because the X-Men were getting their asses handed to them essentially in this one. And so that's two. Three, just the backstory, the build-up. Magneto has an entire healthy army of mutants, and he's gonna launch it on the world. And it's up to the X-Men to confront him. There's just that backstory just makes it so much better. 4. Who confronts Magneto? Who confronts Magneto, of course? Well, who confronts Magneto? A bunch of rookie X-Men that no one's heard of. I don't know their names. Frenzy. And the way they recruit them, too, it's so cool. They recruit Frenzy because, well, they brainwash her. That's how they recruit. They recruit Frenzy by brainwashing her. They recruit the Italian guy because, well, he thought Jean Grey was hot, and he went with her. He never worked on an X-Men before. He has no official training. They recruit this guy that you can see through his skin and see all his orders. He recruited him when he was being chased by a mob. He had no alternative. Either join the X-Men and kind of be chased by a mob, continue, or kind of escape with the X-Men. What would you pick? 3. They recruit Dazzler, and Dazzler just kind of shows up at the door. She just essentially shows up at the door, and they tell him Abomination, like, oh, I'm in. 4. And then the 4th member, Sunfire. His sister. An absolute stranger. And he accepted her, and she acknowledges that. I'm an absolute stranger. 5. Northstar. They recruit at a book signing. It's unbelievable. They recruit a bunch of rookie X-Men, and it's like these rookie X-Men that had no experience. They don't work together. They never work together. Sunfire's sister has a gigantic ego, doesn't get along with anyone. The ugly guy essentially has no powers except, looking, having a clear skin and transferring that to other people. And then you got the Italian macho mafia guy, and Northstar doesn't get along because of his sexual preference. And they have no training together whatsoever, and they're going to confront Magneto. They should lose. And then 6, and the 5th epic reason why, just the battle. The entire battle takes place in 113. If you can only get one of this, get X-Men 113. This is where the entire battle takes place, and it's so good. So that's 5. It's just the battle, the absolute battle with Magneto, which is absolutely killing. And then there's the 6th reason where Wolverine finally gets his revenge. And let's show that panel. After ripping the adamantium out, after Magneto rips the adamantium, he finally gets his revenge by gutting him. Look at that panel, folks. Awesome. Is it not? So that's awesome. And then, here's another reason why it's epic. Magneto was believed dead. He stayed dead for a while. He didn't come back into New X-Men when they came out with that whole Zorn fiasco. Because Zorn was originally Magneto. And that indirectly leads to a lot of other events. Because if Magneto's alive, Zorn doesn't reveal himself to be a Magneto. Trust me, it's complicated. Zorn, who turns out to be Magneto, is not Magneto if he's alive and kicking. If this never happens. And in turn, he never betrays the X-Men. And in turn, Jean Grey doesn't die for the 100th time again. Because if you read that story, Jean Grey dies at the end of that story arc because Magneto gives her a planetary stroke. Or a stroke on a planetary scale. And that ends up killing Magneto. So if these events don't happen, if Magneto doesn't essentially die in this, you don't get that big reveal that Zorn is Magneto in later issues. You don't get Jean Grey's death. It indirectly leads to a lot of other things. And it is epic for all those reasons, folks. Okay, let me I just want to flip through some of these pages. Look at that splash page right there. Look at that. Just these absolute beauty, man. And then my favorite panel, and then just look at Xavier, man. look at what Magneto does to him. He essentially ties him to a metal cross. Pretty much. Well, you can see it right here. You can just see right here. Look at that. I mean, oh my God, and they were once friends. I mean, it's just really epic. Rick, and I'll leave you with this panel right here, with the last panel. Wolverine finally getting his revenge. Awesome, folks. If you tell me, it's called Eva Destruction Story Arc. If you can only get one, X-Men 113 where the battle takes place, because it is definitely worth checking out, folks. Anyway, thanks, and I'm punching out. And I wasn't defecating in that bathroom, by the way. You caught me at the wrong time. I really got to program this better. But anyway, I'm punching out. Goodbye.